Hello everyone. I popped a video on Instagram yesterday and it got some good responses. Folks were asking for more, and so I thought I might as well put it on YouTube as well. The video is about how you motivate someone to change. And so in this video, I want to give you 7 ways to motivate a person to change. 6 of them are not good. 1 of them is excellent. Hold on. All right, let's say that your friend needs to change. The question that I'm asking here is, how do you help that person to change, to transform? Maybe your husband is stuck in a bad habit and you want him to change. What is your change process? Perhaps you have a wife who is nagging or criticizing you. It does happen. How are you helping her model a more gentle and caring spirit? Now, there are several ways to motivate a person to change. I'm going to give you a few approaches that come to mind. And as you listen through this list, I want you to examine your heart to see which ones you tend to employ when someone is not changing according to your expectations. Now, these first 6, they're not good, but unfortunately, I have used all of them. Number 1, the shame approach. The shame approach is pointing out how dumb that thing was that the person did. The second one is the guilt approach. And so the guilt approach is comparing the person's poor behavior with somebody else's good behavior. And so you have the shame approach, the guilt approach, and then there's the threat approach. The threat approach is yelling the consequences of the person's sin if he continues in it. And then the fourth one is the condemnation approach, putting him down or making fun of him in front of other people. And then number 5 is the critical approach, always pointing out his faults, no matter how small they may be. And then finally, number 6 is the cynical approach, which means being suspicious. It goes like this: though he may have done something good, you know that his intent, it was not motivated well. And so what you have is you have the shame approach, the guilt approach, the threat approach, the condemnation approach, the critical approach, and the cynical approach. Now, how did you do? Did you see yourself in any of those approaches? I think it would be good if you ask your spouse, if you're married, or maybe if you have children or a few close friends, how do they characterize you? Not episodically, because we all fail at this at some point. That's easy to do because we're fallen people. But I'm talking about a characterization, a pattern of behavior in your life. Well, maybe it would be good to ask someone how they see you characterized as far as motivating a person to change. These approaches that I just shared with you, they can be effective in any context where there is an authority and subordinate construct, like a parent or a child. And when I say they can be effective, I put that in air quotes because a little child will be motivated to change if you shame them, condemn them, threaten them, criticize them. But the problem is those little kids will grow up and they'll be as big as you are someday, and those approaches won't work any longer. But worse than that, it can really damage the relationship and maybe even motivate them to walk away from Christ. And so those 6 approaches are not good. There is a biblical method for change that God would want us to use to help people to transform. I call this the encouragement approach. Paul said it this way in Romans 2:4. He said, "Do you presume," meaning do you take for granted, "on the riches of his kindness?" So do you take for granted the riches of his kindness, his forbearance, the riches of his patience? And then Paul asked this question, not knowing that the kindness of God is meant to lead to repentance. And so Paul is asking a question here. He is asking you, don't you know this? You know this, right? That God's kindness is what leads a person to change? His assumption is that you do know this, and so that is a question that maybe you want to ask yourself. Are you aware that it is God's kindness that led to your own repentance or to your own change, assuming that you are a Christian? And so what we want to do is to imitate Christ, imitate God in our lives by encouraging others. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't discipline. Discipline can be a kindness from God. Of course, the folks that the Lord disciplines, He loves, and so love is always a part of proper biblical discipline, as we learn in Hebrews 12. And so as I wrap up this video, the question is, how are you doing in creating a context of grace in your relationships that motivate people to be honest, to be transparent, and to be willing to seek you out to receive your care? If you want to read a full article, I have an essay on our website. It's about 2,000 words. There's also a podcast there. I'll link it here under this video, and so you can read or listen to that if you wish. Also, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel so that we can continue to grow organically. And as always, if you have any questions, all you have to do is to pop over to our free community forum on our website, and we have a team of folks that are waiting there to talk with you. Thank you for watching.